The Ark of the Covenant, or the Ark of the Revelation, is a chest in which the sacred relics of the Jews were kept. It is, in essence, a symbol of the Old Testament and, to a certain extent, a materialization of the power of the Lord. And let them make an ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be its length, and a cubit and a half its width, and a cubit and a half its height. And you shall overlay it with pure gold. You shall overlay it within and without. And you shall make upon the top of it a crown of gold all around. According to one version, the ark consisted of 3 chests, which were inserted one into the other. According to another version, it was only one wooden chest, decorated with a thin layer of gold inside and outside. Inside the ark were the tablets of the covenant, the first, which the indignant Moses broke, and the second, intact. In addition, according to some assumptions, the ark also contained the unpronounceable name of the Most High along with his other names. The ark also contained the Torah scroll, on which the texts were written by the hand of Moses himself. In the Holy of Holies of the Jerusalem temple were also a jug of manna from heaven, Aaron's rod that blossomed and bore fruit, and later the golden gifts of the Philistines appeared here. But the Ark of the Covenant is not only a place where the relics of the Israelites were kept. Through it, God also expressed his will and gave advice. For example, on the eve of the battle with the sons of Benjamin, the children of Israel inquired of the Lord, saying, "Should I go out again to battle with the sons of Benjamin my brother? Or forbear?" The Lord said, "Go up. Tomorrow I will deliver him into your hand." In addition, the ark served to protect the Israelites. Then they journeyed from the mountain of the Lord 3 days' journey. And the ark of the covenant of the Lord went before them 3 days' journey, to search out a place for them to camp. And the cloud of the Lord overshadowed them by day when they journeyed from the camp. And when the ark was set aloft, Moses said, "Rise up, O Lord, that your enemies may be scattered, and those who hate you may flee from before you." But when the ark rested, he said, "Return, O Lord, to the thousands and 10,000 of Israel." The ark was also used by the Israelites to instill fear in their enemies. This is very clearly demonstrated by the following fact. When, during the time of Joshua, the priests carried the ark into the Jordan River, its waters parted, and the Israelites were able to cross to the other side without getting their feet wet. When all the kings of the Amorites who dwelt on this side of the Jordan toward the sea, and all the kings of Canaan who were by the sea, heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of the Jordan before the children of Israel while they were passing over, then their hearts failed them, and there was no more spirit in them against the children of Israel. It is this incomprehensible force, which in a number of cases proved fatal to people, that remains a mystery to scientists to this day. Indeed, when Uzziah touched the ark, he died instantly. The 70 young men who looked inside the ark also died. The sacred chest also killed Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu. And this tragedy happened because they took each his censer and put fire in them, and put incense therein, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded them. And fire came out from the Lord and consumed them, and they died before the Lord. Most likely, Moses knew about the danger that was hidden in the golden box. So he always put the tent with the ark outside the camp, and not in the center, as should have been done with a sacred relic. When one day the ark ended up with the Philistines, who defeated the Israelites in one of the battles, then everyone who approached the unusual chest began to get sick and eventually died. Moreover, their death was accompanied by all the symptoms that are characteristic of radiation sickness: nausea, hair loss, ulcers on the skin. For this reason, a hypothesis was put forward that the ark contained a small nuclear reactor, with the help of which the Israelites received the energy necessary for cooking. True, it is unknown where the Israelites got this reactor from. But the Bible does not say anything about this. And more or less plausible hypotheses have not been put forward to this day by either theologians or secular scientists. And so such an expensive shrine disappeared. Moreover, It is unknown when and where. Of course, over many centuries, many versions have appeared that attempt to answer these questions. However, it is impossible to say that the time of disappearance and the location of the ark are absolutely unknown, at least because it was no longer in the Second Temple. In addition, the second book of Maccabees says that the prophet Jeremiah, obeying God's command, hid the ark on Mount Novo. It was also in the scriptures that this prophet, according to the divine revelation that came to him, commanded the tabernacle and the ark to follow him when he went up the mountain from which Moses, having ascended, saw the heritage of God. When Jeremiah came there, he found a dwelling in a cave and brought in the tabernacle and the ark and the altar of incense and blocked the entrance. When some of those who accompanied him later came to notice the entrance, they could not find it. When Jeremiah learned of this, he reproached them and said that this place would remain unknown until God, having mercy, gathers the host of the people. And then the Lord will show it, and the glory of the Lord and the cloud will appear, as it appeared in the time of Moses, as Solomon asked that the place be especially sanctified. This mountain, located in the territory of modern Jordan, is one of the rather significant places in biblical history. It was on this mountain that Moses, by command of God, climbed on the last day of his earthly life to look at the promised land, which the Lord did not allow him to step on. And there the great prophet died and was buried by God. According to another assumption, the ark was in the Temple of Solomon, where it was placed by order of King Josiah. This is described in the Talmud. Or perhaps it ended up in Babylon along with the captive Jews. No less curious is the version that names Ethiopia as the location of the ark. More precisely, the Cathedral of the Holy Virgin Mary of Zion in the city of Axum. And a fairly weighty argument in favor of this assumption is the fact that every temple in the country has copies of this relic, and they are annually displayed for public viewing on one of the church holidays. How did the Ark of the Covenant end up in Ethiopia? There is an interesting story about this, set out in the Glory of the Kings, an Ethiopian written source dating back to the 14th century. According to this chronicle, the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, Bena Lechem, later known as King Menelik, secretly transported the ark to one of the temples of Axum, once the capital of Ethiopia. But Muslims believe that the ark is hidden in the city of Antakya, in what is now Turkey. It was delivered there by the Essenes, who were ideological opponents of the Pharisees. According to another version, after Jerusalem was destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE, the Essenes left the city and settled in the Qumran caves, which are located on the coast of the Dead Sea. Perhaps the Ark of the Covenant is still kept in one of them. Secular scientists also have their own point of view on the history of the Ark, and they rely primarily on the chronicles in their hypotheses. And in them, the history of the Ark is described as follows. Since the Ark of the Covenant was last mentioned almost immediately after the capture of Jerusalem by the Romans in 70 BC, it is assumed that the Roman Emperor Titus discovered a secret room in the Temple of Solomon in which the Ark was located and took the relic to the capital of the empire, Rome. Since then, all attempts to find the Ark of the Covenant have not yielded positive results. By the way, one of the goals of the Crusades to the Holy Land, which were undertaken by medieval knights, was the search for the Ark of the Covenant, but apparently they were unsuccessful. Although some researchers hold the opposite point of view, a certain argument for this assumption is the enormous wealth with which the knights returned from Jerusalem to Europe. Most likely, they found it in the underground vaults of the temple. Sacred books speak in their own way about the loss and discovery of the Ark. Thus, the Lord said to the prophet Jeremiah, "And it will come to pass, when you have multiplied and become fruitful in the land, in those days, says the Lord, that they will no longer say, the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. It will not come to mind, nor will they remember it, nor will they come to it, and it will be no more."